Hey folks, everything new under the sun. Well, bank runs, economic collapse, accounts freezing, living under a dictatorship. You thought this was all in the future. It is happening basically now in Canada for all intents and purposes as it relates to the Emergency Act. Now, we are moving towards a global government. The Antichrist, the leader of the global government, will appear, and he will appear at a time when there's upheaval, unrest, civil unrest, social collapse, economic trouble, a lot of things happening. And he's going to come and say, hey, I can fix all this. All you need to do is buy into the global government and accept this mark so that you can buy and sell. And of course, the Bible speaks about a mark of the beast. And if you don't have it, you won't be able to buy or sell. They want to track everything you do because you could be a terrorist, and they want to be able to track what you spend your money on, where that money goes. Is it going to a GoFundMe account or a GiveSendGo account to fund, quote, terrorists or, quote, violent protesters or insurrections or other things that are happening? This is the narrative that they're spinning. This is being debated in Canada's Parliament, in the Commons right now, and after which to go to the Senate. It probably has the vote in the Commons based on the Liberal alliance with the New Democratic Party, the NDP. In the Commons, the Conservatives and the Bloc Québécois are voting against it. But the Liberals, the government, the minority government, has enough votes for it. So it's going to go to the Senate. And the question is, will it pass in the Senate? So again, can these things happen to you? Let's take a look at a couple of significant articles about the economy, the state of, not the world at this point, the state of the United States and Canada. This is a Zero Hedge. By the way, Secret Services, the three-letter intelligence agencies are going after Zero Hedge, suggesting Russian propaganda and reporting Russian news as a sort of propaganda. So there you go. Zero Hedge might be canceled soon. Shocker from Fed repo oracle Zoltan Pozsar: Powell must crash the market. So is Powell, is he talking about a planned economic collapse? If you scroll down here, let's see if I can find the specific statement. And I might have lost it here. Let's see. Here it is. Volatility is the best policeman, because the government likes using force, right? So what better way to use an example of force there? Policeman of risk appetite and risk assets. To improve the labor supply, the Fed might try to put volatility in its service to engineer a correction in house prices and risk assets, equities, credits, and Bitcoin. He's saying the Fed might try or might be interested in using volatility to correct the market, to bring it into correction, I guess to cool it down. So an engineered collapse or crisis by the Federal Reserve to adjust these assets, which they recognize are way too high right now. So that's a significant comment about the engineered collapse of the economy. And what do we know is coming in the last days? A world economic system brought on by the world leader who will be the Antichrist, and bring in a world economic system, a world currency, and an electronic system which is called the Mark of the Beast, likely to be an electronic system, I should say, in your right hand or forehead. So are we looking to move into a new economic situation and era? You talking about the Great Reset? Then absolutely yes. Let's talk about this. Canada's Justice Minister threatening United States citizens. Canada's Justice Minister says Trump supporters, because Trump is the evil man, of course, and all the supporters, all the 81 million supporters of Donald Trump, or the Republicans, whichever you want to call it, are the evil people. It says Trump supporters should worry about having their bank accounts frozen. Canada's threatening to freeze American citizens' bank accounts. And guess what? I wouldn't put it past Biden to push for that. The Justice Minister said Trump supporters who donated money to the Canadian Freedom Convoy, by the way, which was about 34%, I believe, 60% of donations to the Give, Send, Go account / GoFundMe were from Canadian citizens. So the vast majority were from Canadians giving to this cause because they felt like it was a good cause. But he says Trump supporters who donated to the Freedom Convoy should be worried about having their bank accounts frozen. So you didn't think this would happen in your lifetime, your bank accounts? This is how it happens. Credit score, Chinese credit score system. If you don't toe the line, you could be restricted from travel, and your bank accounts can be taken away. Your work, your income, your livelihood could be taken away. This is what they're talking about, and they are now threatening the United States. And again, obviously Canada can't do anything, but I would have no doubt that Biden would be interested in punishing anybody from the Republican side across the bench there, across the way in the Senate or the Congress. I think he would be happy to do anything to make them, to villainize them. Bank runs, again, something you didn't think would be coming. This now appears to be happening in Canada, a small bank run. There were bank outages. Canada's top banks mysteriously go offline. Remember we were talking about Cyber Polygon? What would happen if you couldn't access your money? You wouldn't be able to pay your mortgage. You wouldn't be able to go to the grocery store. Do you carry cash anymore? This is a great reason why you need to be carrying cash. Some preppers say you need 6 months of cash, and that's a lot of cash. I certainly don't have that much. At minimum, bare minimum, you need to have enough to pay for a mortgage payment until you can figure out some other way to pay your monthly bills. And this is one thing that I would suggest that probably 99% of you listening don't have cash to pay enough of your monthly, to cover your monthly bills, obviously for a month, or much less 2 months or 3 months. This is a big deal. We live paycheck to paycheck, many of us. We don't have a lot of money, me included. And I don't have a lot of cash on hand. But they are now freezing bank accounts of convoy supporters. There was apparently some bank errors happening at several banks. RBC outage, there was a CIBC, there was a TD Canada Trust outage, and a Scotiabank outage. Interestingly, all happening around the same time. Look at that, 8 p.m. to, I guess, 5 a.m. So, isn't that interesting that they all kind of happened at the same time? All those spikes in access, people getting errors when they were at a bank machine. Days after Prime Minister Trudeau said he would invoke emergency orders to crack down on demonstrators by freezing their bank accounts, 5 major Canadian banks went offline Wednesday. And this actually would be, if you wanted to support the convoy, this might be a good way to put pressure on, the politicians. Take your money out. That's legal to do. You're allowed to take your money out right now. It may not be legal in the future. And I have videos saying that they will not allow you to take money out in the future. But right now you can. And if everybody takes out money, the banks will get nervous and it will cause instability in Canada. And that will put more pressure on the government to fix the issue and to not freeze accounts. It's a very sketchy situation when the government starts freezing accounts, because then no one has any faith in the banks. And that's a big deal. So these Canadian banks went offline, and many people have been pulling the money out. Royal Bank, Bank of Montreal, Scotiabank, TD, Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce were all hit with unexplainable outages on Wednesday evening. Users began reporting issues with banks around 4 to 5 Eastern. That image comes from Down Detector. Canadian Twitter users reported they couldn't access their funds at the ATMs. One user took a photo of an error at one of RBC's ATMs that read, "Tap transactions aren't available for this card." So what's going on? Is it related? Is it not related? Is there a bank run? Here is Google Trends shows Canadians have panic searched bank run. First jumped on Tuesday, then went parabolic Wednesday, right around the time the bank outages were reported. Is the bank trying to minimize losses? Do you know what? I shouldn't say panic, but you know what? You need to go get some money out of your bank account. I'm not going to suggest that it's supporting anything or not supporting something. You would be wise, if you need any money, to get it out now. Whether you're part of the convoy or not, who knows what can be involved in this. If there are mistakes made and accounts are incorrectly associated to it, you may be left in the dark, not being able to pay your bills. That's a very real concern. And now there's no trust in the banks because the banks have come out in large part in support of and doing what the government wants and reporting and locking down, freezing assets and bank accounts for anybody connected to this. So now if you put $10 towards a convoy or something the government doesn't like, they can now freeze your account, limit you from buying and selling. Kind of sounds like something that's coming in the future, doesn't it? Canadians panic search bank outages Canada. Bank run Canada, bank run definition. When you start hearing chatter about this, that's when you got to recognize that this could be around the corner. It doesn't take much for a bank run to start, and once it does, the momentum cannot be stopped. You will be left out of the game if you don't have any stored away previously. It's the idea of being prepared, being a prepper. When the problem comes along, it's too late to get prepared. You should have got prepared a week ago, 3 weeks ago, a month, 6 months ago, or been building supplies over that period of time. There's been a lot of speculation on Twitter. Some Twitter users have said banks are faking the outages to minimize bank runs as people lose faith in the banking sector. What happens when people lose faith in all the big banks? They pull their money out. Banks don't like that. Banks use your money to make money. You start pulling money out, that's going to really cause trouble in the banking industry, and the government cannot have a bank run on their hands. And this is what the Trudeau government is effectively forcing, initiating, by way of declaring these bank account freezes. Because you have tens of thousands of Canadians, if not hundreds of thousands, who are donating to or are simply worried that their account might be frozen as it relates to social media posts, whatever. At this point, it seems like Trudeau can do whatever he wants. They're still debating it in the Commons as to whether this is legal or not. There's court challenges now underway by democracy groups, lawyers on their way to courts to go against this, but you need to be prepared. What's happening in the last days? There's chaos, there's social collapse, there's civil unrest. And then comes along the Antichrist who says, I'm going to fix it all. You just have to accept this mark in your right hand or your forehead so you can buy or sell. This is what's happening. And this is coming. This is on us. This is on Western civilization. We never thought we'd have to deal with this as Christians, as Western Christians. We thought we were living fat, dumb, and happy, and blissfully ignorant about anything happening in the world. Now it's coming home to roost. Now you and I are experiencing this, and the threats of this coming down on you and I are coming out. Do you think people will keep their money in institutions they can now easily freeze? Said one Twitter user. One Twitter user wasn't surprised about what has unfolded. Government threatens to freeze their money in your bank. People panic to take their money out of the bank so they can survive. Bank outages surprised Pikachu face. Some on the fringe said, take all your money out of the banks. Buy gold and silver, crypto and ammo. Now, no one's suggesting anything as it relates to what these say. I'm just saying what Twitter is saying. And you need to keep your eyes open and do what you need to do. Be prepared. This is coming down fast. And it won't be long before all the voices are silenced, mine included. There's users on Facebook, on Twitter that are being canceled, accounts completely shut down and deleted for reposting, for speaking of this. If you say anything against the government, you are the enemy now, effectively. Folks, I'll leave it there. This is a serious situation. We are in the thick of it now. It only gets worse from here. Be prepared. Get your hearts and minds ready. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.